What's up, everybody? I'm back after an incredibly long hiatus to bring you some more Dice Masters action. I'm going to go ahead and jump right into the game. This is the second game in this three-game series where I played with a friend of mine. We popped open some packs. I spent all 4 of my energy and picked up a superhero registration act right off the top there, right on turn number 1. My opponent's going to pay 3. He's going to pick up his deck star. Then he's going to resurrection 1 die over. I go ahead and start my turn up. Turn number 2. Roll 4 energy. I'm going to go ahead and spend that 4 and pay for another superhero registration act. So if you remember from the last game, which I uploaded a little while ago, these games are definitely have some space between them uploading wise. My goal with this team was to just keep ramping and keep churning through the bag at a faster rate than my opponent. My opponent's buying another deck star and fielding 2 sidekicks. Learning from the last game, I actually don't think deck star is as powerful as he appeared to be, because there's no way for him to gain overcrush. Like if my opponent buys up anger issues, that'd be good. I pick up a Jade and then I prep a die with Resurrection Global. This game's moving at a much quicker pace based on the editing that I had to do. This was a seriously long game. This was like a 47-minute long raw recording, and I've cut it down to pretty short, so I was happy to see that. My opponent fields 2 sidekicks. Let's see what he does. He's going to pay 2 to pick up one of his monk. He's actually going to push all his sidekicks out and deal me 4. Likes to bump the table, apparently, too. Should have set that camera up differently. So I have both my superhero registration acts here. I'd like to roll them both, actually, because it would provide me the best possible amount, the highest amount of ramp, I should say. So I'm going to re-roll the second one. Does not come up, but I can use it as 2 energy, which is fine. So my opponent cannot KO a character, which means I get 3 dice all to myself. I pick them up and roll them. Didn't get the character, so I did get the shield on the other one. So I spend a bunch of energy, pick up Kilowog. I spent 5. Then I pick up Miri with 2 and Resurrection Global with that final shield, and end my turn. So got to do some major buying there thanks to the 2 superhero registration acts that I picked up turn 1 and turn 2. My opponent's going the aggressive route and picking up character turn 1 and turn 2. Me not having a character means that I really had to rely on him not fielding those and hitting me for a ton, and he did not, and instead paid 6 to pick up one of those Supergirl dice really early on. Here I do actually have the opportunity to roll some characters. One of them comes up. I'm going to re-roll Kilowog and what's her face? What is her face? I don't remember her name. Jade. For some reason I forgot Jade. Jade does not come up, but Kilowog does. And I re-rolled both of them there because if I had to choose between the 2 of them, I would prefer to be able to pay for Kilowog's fielding cost over Jade's, and I only had a set few amount of energy to choose from. I would have had to pay to field Jade there too. So my opponent's rolling and re-rolling, and he pays here for an Atom. Then he's going to prep a die over. He's running the rare Atom, if you remember from the first game I showed. I go ahead and move my 2 dice in reserve pool off to the side into used, add prep, and roll it up. So here I have Miri. Not a character in the field zone that I can actually, or in the used pile that I can actually pull onto the field zone yet. So it checks and it only sees that there. It sees there are 2, but I only have a 3-cost character in there. Pay 4 to pick up an Atom, and I'm going to end my turn, choosing not to attack into an empty board and send another die into used. Though I am about to see 2 superhero registration acts because they're still in the bag. My opponent has a deck star, rolls a sidekick to add to that deck star. He's going to have to pay to field possibly. Let's see. No, paying to field. Oh, it looks like he had to pay 2 to field. And he's going to Resurrection Global. Pulls out Atom. Does not attack. Might actually be a good idea to attack there, just to try to clear off some of my board and make me re-roll some stuff. But here with superhero registration acts coming out, and one of them lands, I'm going to be able to force him to KO a character. If he doesn't want to, then I roll 3 dice. I also get an atom here, which is good. Get to field it on its level 1 side, which means I don't have to pay much for it. Put it out there. Almost spun it, but that's supposed to happen at the end or beginning of your turn. I'm going to pick up the 4-cost Worth. And at this point, I'm going to spin up Atom to its next level. My opponent has 4 dice, adds the 2 from prep, and he's going to roll some stuff up. He's got his, wow, shaky camera. He's got his Supergirl, and he's got an Atom that he was going to want to field. So he's going to have to pay 4 to field both of those characters. That leaves him just enough to Resurrection Global here, which is a good roll for him overall. That was a good turn. And then he has the choice to attack or to stand. See what he chooses to do. His team seems predicated on putting on pressure until you get the Supergirl out, and then continuing pressure with sidekicks. Looks like he's not going to attack, though. In this game, there's a huge defender's advantage, as I've talked about a couple of times before, so it's probably a good idea not to attack constantly. Though choosing when to attack, that's probably the hardest thing in this game, is knowing when to attack versus when not to attack. I am at a life disadvantage, but I have a severe board advantage. I'm going to send in Jade, which is going to get blocked, and I'm going to buff Jade +1 attack. That's going to end up KOing both of those. It would have already KO'd it anyway, I think, but because she gets KO'd, I get to draw and prep a die, which is my reason for attacking. Plus, I chose to attack because I knew I had a board advantage going into the next turn, going into my opponent's turn. So he's got 2 deck stars ready to field, and he rolls up the monk, but it comes up the double shield, so he's going to pay to field both of those deck stars. He's going to spend what looks like he was that focus power he bought earlier, I guess. And then he's going to push forward and attack with Atom and 2 deck stars. So I have to choose how I want to block. I could let some damage through here, but I definitely don't want to let those deck stars through. I choose to block it all, straight up, looks like. Thinking about how I want to block that last one. Do I want to keep a Kilowog in the field, or do I want to block with a sidekick? If I block with a sidekick, then I know I don't KO that deck star. If I block with Kilowog, everything wipes. So I'm going to let everything wipe, and then I'm going to get to reroll everything on my turn, along with whatever I draw from the bag. So overall, that was a pretty good turn for me, even though it was his turn, because he pushed things in, and now he has a board disadvantage if I can do some fielding. And I rolled 3 characters, which is very good. Excuse me, 2 characters, which is pretty good. 2 out of 5. Maybe that's not so good. Gonna re-roll. And I come up Bolt, and a Kilowog. It looks like I don't have to pay much to field the Kilowog. And I also have Superhero Registration Act, SRA for short. So I'm gonna use SRA. He chooses not to KO his Supergirl, which is a good choice by him. And I have another SRA, which I could use. Got enough energy to field all of those characters, so I'm going to pay 3 to field all 3 of those. I have 2 sidekicks. And here I misplaced something. During the clear and draw step, if you don't have enough dice to draw, you take burn damage. But because this isn't the clear and draw step, you just fulfill as much draw as possible. So even though I only have 1 in the bag, which I think I only do have 1 in the bag, that adds 2. I don't actually take a point of damage and gain a generic energy here. Because it's not the clear and draw step, I just do as much as possible until I run out of energy. So I should not actually have 1 energy here. And in fact, I actually don't. I don't think it helps much. We'll see what I do with it. Pay 4. Pick up an anger issues. So we can chalk that one up as a misplay and a misinterpretation of the rules, which is incorrect. Let's keep tabs on that, see if that makes much of a difference later down the road. I spun up my Atom there at the end and got him to his 5/5 side. So So my opponent's got a Supergirl out, but no sidekicks to buff. He's got an Atom that's ready to field, and he has one of his deck stars that he's ready to field as well. He's going to try to reroll the other deck star, see if that comes up. It does not. It comes up as a double fist. He's got a lot of energy to play with. He's going to need to spend some of that to field, which he does. Picking up a second monk. He would have had a really amazing, not draft, sealed opening, I guess, if you will, if he had also gotten to pick up the indigo that goes with the monk. Sadly for him, it did not go that way. But monk's still a good 2-cost. So he's going to KO his deck star. I'm going to draw and roll 2. I give him the opportunity to KO another character. Let's see if he does. He's going to stand and allow me to roll 3. So I'm going to roll up a ring, which is really good, and a what's her name? Jade. I can't remember Jade's name. Weird. This is the anger issues that I illegally bought. I'm going to pay 4 to buy a legit anger issues. And let's see what happens. I push forward with 3 characters because I have an amazingly large board advantage. So I'm going to throw on the Overcrush and +3 onto Jade. She also gets a +1 from the ring out on the field. So I'm going to swing in for 6 damage total because she was unblocked. So you can chalk up that 6 damage to an illegal purchase. Oops. So he's rolled up both monks, but 3 characters that will do him no good. He's going to also roll the sidekicks, hoping to pick up a sidekick, looks like. Still no sidekicks. So he's going to pay 1, 2, 3, 4 to field all of that. And then he's going to use the question mark here to resurrect. So and he's going to push forward to attack. I'll just triple block with sidekicks as probably the best choice here. Means I roll 3 extra energy. I keep what I want on the field. And I'm going to have a big roll this turn. So he's gained the board advantage now. But as I've mentioned before, this game is a game of swings. And I'm able to field 2 characters here plus a sidekick. And I haven't even used the SRA yet. Reroll step. Going to reroll the anger issues. That's the legit one, I think. Who knows at this point? Could be anything. Going to draw up 2 dice and roll 2 dice. And got 2 generic and 1 bolt. So there I wanted to hope for another character, but didn't get that opportunity. And my big goal here is to find a perfect time to spend 6 and pick up a Batman. But because the high fielding cost on the 5 purchase cost Kilowog, all of his sides are high fielding pretty much. And because of the fielding cost on that 5/5 Atom, this was not that time. But I ended up able to pick up a Kilowog. And I guess I could have bought the 6-cost Batman there, but I kind of prefer the ramp. Batman in this team seems like a good finisher, and I have a lot of actions that I'd use him with, so that probably would have been a valid choice as well. He gets the buff, the +2/+2 from whatever generic energies you roll on those generic 2 sides that you roll on those action dice during roll and reroll. It's kind of a niche ability. Doesn't trigger very easily, but it's doable. So he rolls up 2 sidekicks, which are buffed by the Supergirl there. It's a secretly powerful ability. Spent 3 to field. So he's going to spin up his Supergirl with focus power. Choosing not to attack, though, which is kind of interesting because he has a really strong presence with those buffed sidekicks that you could actually swing in and force me to KO a couple of characters just to block those. Reroll Jade. She doesn't come up. I do end up spending 4 to pick up a Bleeze, and she goes into the bag. Miri comes out, nothing in the field or nothing in the used pile to pull into the field zone. Attack with a Kilowog. He blocks with a sidekick, which is buffed. Doesn't KO my Kilowog. And I move right along. No Overcrush means throwing the fist onto the Kilowog that I saved is probably a bad idea. I can actually use that on my opponent's turn. Fields a sidekick, fields 2 more characters, and now we have an interesting little stalemate here. The question is, with both of us building up a board, and it looks like he's going to be the first to swing. So I have a serious advantage here if I can choose the correct way to block, because I can correctly block and not take any damage, KO my characters, re-roll them, and they'll have hopefully something that resembles a clear board, some semblance of a clear board. Supergirl KOs Kilowog. Kilowog KOs her. Basically just a wipe for most of this. I'm going to buff my sidekick to KO his 2 defense deck star, and then the KO on the sidekick at the end there. So I get to re-roll here. I whittled down his side of the board, which is nice. And again, I'm just hoping that he just doesn't re-roll some stuff. And I'm hoping that I do re-roll some stuff, obviously. The benefit to blocking in that situation was if I would have landed that SRA there, then I would have had a huge advantage on just general energy put out and possible more characters drawing here. But what I have in board is okay for right now. Pay 4, end up picking up the 3rd superhero registration. And I'm going to resurrect, pull out the 2nd Kilowog, and I have a ton of stuff in reserve. Sorry, reserve, not reserve. Ton of stuff in used pile. Here I'm really hoping that he doesn't re-roll everything and fill his board back up. So he's got 1, 2 characters, it looks like, and 2 double energy sides. 3 if you count the sidekick there. Looks like he's re-rolling. Maybe that wasn't a character face on the deck star. He's got a character. That doesn't pick up Supergirl, so that's really good for me. Gonna field deck star, gonna field monk, and gonna field a sidekick. Paying 1 shield along with those 2 energy to field all of those characters. So he's got 3 energy remaining. Obviously he's going to want to spend one of those shields on ramp. Continue to lower his bag count and apply the pressure. Might not be a good idea for him to attack here. It might be a good idea to just stand and start, I guess just pick up the last anger issues there. Let's see what he chooses to do. He chooses to just pass on by. That's probably what I would do too. You have the board advantage. No need to attack into me and allow me to dictate terms. It's a tough thing to do to play in one of these sealed little best of 3s, because in a constructed team you can dictate terms because you've brought the tools that you need to do so, but not so much in a sealed team. So I paid 2 to field Kilowog right after I rolled him. Attack with just the 1 Kilowog. He is on his 6/6 side. I believe it's 6/6. Then I apply anger issues. A little out of turn because he's supposed to assign blockers. Let's see how he chooses to block. So now that Kilowog is a 9/6 and with Overcrush, he's going to have to decide if he wants to block as much as possible or just a little bit and let a little through. So he chooses to block enough to KO Kilowog. I apply all remaining damage, or I apply, sufficient damage to KO all characters, and then all remaining goes to him, which drops him to 11. I am still at 16, so I have a life advantage and a little bit of a board advantage. One of his characters came up, so another deck star. a lot of energy here, though. Sidekick, too. That's useful. Focus Power has not been doing very much for him, it seems, because none of his character abilities benefit from being on its 3 side or its 2 side. Being on a specific side, there's no burst sides, so he can't really choose to take advantage of that outside of just having a nice little 3 cost generic 2 die that you roll sometimes. A lot of energy, though, so he's going to pay 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Going to pay 6 for that Supergirl that he brought over from his card. He's left over with a shield and a fist. So it looks like he's going to pay the shield to resurrect, and the fist he will save for the global that I brought on Anger Issues. Choosing to attack with, let's see, does he push the monks? He does. He pushes the monks and the deck stars. So he's allowing me to choose how I want blockers to be applied. So what I would like to do is keep several of my characters alive, because he's in a danger zone. He's in a decent chance of dying if I allow some of my higher attack characters to live. But I also don't want to take so much damage that if I miss a roll, then I'm in a bad position. So I choose the way I want to block carefully here. Adam KOs. Miri KOs. Bleeze is going to come back, which saves me 4 damage. And Kilowog is going to get KO'd because he applies the fist with the global. So I have an opportunity here. I have a lot of characters that I can possibly roll, and I'm just looking for enough damage to take him out. I have 4 on board, and it looks like I have, can't tell what those sides are. I might have enough there, though. Assuming that those stat lines are pretty average, so like on its 2 side or its 1 side, I'd probably have enough already. I don't know if I see lethal, though. There I definitely have enough, so at this point I have actually won the game. I just got to make sure I field everything and attack. Because he can block one thing, unless he chooses to sack that sidekick, which would be a bad choice for him. Looks like he does choose to sack the sidekick to KO it, allowing me to roll 3 dice. Which is funny because I only picked up, or sorry, forcing me to roll 2 dice, not 3. Apologies. Field both of those Kilowogs. That gives me enough energy. Actually, that roll gives me more than enough energy to field all of this stuff. I push forward when I see that I have lethal because it's an open board, and deal more than enough to buff up those characters as well. More than enough damage to take game number 2. So I pick up this best of 3 with this team that I was actually kind of worried about going into these games, because I did not have very many multiples. I only ended up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Really, I only ended up with 1 card that had multiples. 7 other cards had a single die. But thanks to something like Superhero Registration Act and just good buying and energy management, I was able to make it work. So thank you guys for watching, and I apologize for the long hiatus. Things have been kind of crazy around here, but I'll try to bring some more games to you next time.